Good evening. I'm Howie Hawkins from Syracuse, New York. I was the Green Party candidate for governor in 2014. President Obama's State of the Union address comes as we are celebrating Martin Luther King's birthday. This would be an appropriate time for our federal government to honor King by finally enacting the Economic Bill of Rights he called for in his last campaign, the Poor People's Campaign of 1968. That Economic Bill of Rights called for the right to a useful job, at a livable wage for every adult willing and able to work, the right to a guaranteed income above poverty for those who cannot or should not work, the right to affordable housing, the right to health care, and the right to a good education. If President Obama were to call upon Congress to enact this Economic Bill of Rights, he would not only be honoring Martin Luther King, he would also be renewing the call made by President Franklin Roosevelt in his 1944 State of the Union address. Roosevelt called upon Congress to enact a second Bill of Rights, including the rights to jobs, living wages, incomes above poverty, affordable housing, guaranteed health care, and a good education. Unfortunately, none of these jobs are on the agenda of President Obama or either of the two major parties in America today. But they were part of the national policy debate from the 1930s through the 1970s. In 1934, President Roosevelt formed a Committee on Economic Security, chaired by his Labor Secretary, Ms. Frances Perkins, to come up with a comprehensive system of social insurance covering employment, income security, and health care. For jobs, the committee called for what they called employment assurance, the right to a job guaranteed by direct public employment in public works and services for those who could not find employment in the private sector. The Works Progress Administration, which employed 8.5 million different people in public works and services between 1935 and 1943, was the outcome. While it never intended to guarantee full employment, it did provide work for millions of unemployed people to build public infrastructure and provide public services during the Great Depression. The major outcome of the Committee on Economic Security concerned income security. The 1935 Social Security Act provided income to seniors, the unemployed, and families with dependent children. The 1938 Fair Labor Standards Act provided for a minimum wage. These programs have helped ameliorate poverty, but they have never eliminated it. Moreover, the federal guarantee of support for families with dependent children was repealed in 1996 under the government of President Clinton and Speaker Gingrich. National health insurance, what we call a single public payer system today, was dropped back in the 30s to ease passage of the employment and income security programs. President Roosevelt put health care as well as employment assurance back on the agenda with his call for a comprehensive system of social insurance in his 1944 State of the Union address. Guaranteed jobs, housing, and health care became part of the Democratic platform through the 1940s, 1950s, and 1960s. The Civil Rights Movement gave added impetus to these demands on the national agenda at the 1963 March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, the 1966 Freedom Budget for All Americans, and the 1968 Poor People's Campaign. But despite every Democratic president between Roosevelt and Obama having a majority in both houses of Congress for at least one election cycle, none of these rights have been secured. It has been over 80 years since Roosevelt's Committee on Economic Security first called for these rights. It is past time to realize that the Democrats and Republicans are not going to enact legislation to secure these rights. But we need these economic rights. The private economy does not deliver economic security on its own. The overwhelming majority of Americans do not have economic security. A recent survey by Associated Press found that 4 out of 5 American adults struggle with unemployment, near poverty, or reliance on public assistance for at least parts of their lives. The jobs crisis is severe and persistent. While the president touts an official unemployment rate of 5.6%, the real unemployment rate is at a depression level of 13.5% when we account involuntary part-time and discouraged workers who have given up looking. That is 22 million people who want jobs. Our inner cities have suffered from depression levels of unemployment and poverty without relief since manufacturing began its exodus to the suburbs in the 1950s and then overseas with the so-called free trade agreements of the 1990s. Instead of direct public employment targeted for people who need jobs, all we get from the federal government are trickle-down programs that don't trickle down to the people who need jobs. The Green Party calls for a Green New Deal to provide direct public employment, to employ unused labor to meet unmet community needs. The Green New Deal addresses the twin crises of unemployment and climate change. The Green New Deal is the economic Bill of Rights that would be the fulfillment of the original New Deal, plus green energy to address the climate change. Green energy would be a major job creator. Our schools need more teachers and teachers' assistants to reduce class sizes. Our youth need staff, parks, and community centers. Our elders need care. We need more primary health care providers. Our crumbling infrastructure for roads, rails, sewers, and water treatment need repair and upgrade. There is plenty of work to do. And we know how to provide public jobs. We've done it before. The Works Progress Administration provided 90% federal funding for locally planned projects in public works and services, as well as jobs in federally planned projects. We even have federal legislation drafted to provide for such a program, the Humphrey Hawkins 21st Century Full Employment and Training Act. Unfortunately, this bill, introduced by Representative John Conyers, only had 15 co-sponsors in the last session of Congress. We have made some progress to secure economic security between the 1930s and 1970s, but guaranteeing the right to a job has been off the national agenda since 1978, when the original Humphrey Hawkins Full Employment Bill was stripped of the job guarantee before passage at the urging of the Carter administration. So that leaves it up to the Greens to put the job guarantee back on the public agenda and to start electing Greens to Congress who are committed to that goal. Thank you.